Apologize to the public. We tried to start at 7 o'clock. Our closed session ran a little long, but I appreciate your patience. Thank you very much. So, calling the meeting to order, would you please call the roll?
Archie. Present. Baronis.
Present.
Bolin.
Present?
Gathing.
Present.
Veranda.
Yes, present.
Verrett.
Present.
Williams.
We have two members who are ill and they're attending by telephone. So if you'll join me, we'll stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. For those of you who were not aware, we have a new board member who has taken the oath earlier tonight, so she could attend the closed session. And we welcome you, Ms. Veranda. We're excited about having you here
Thank you.
for at least the next 3 months, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is one that has personal meaning for me because it's been my crusade since I've been on the board, is to honor and extol the Illinois State Scholars. And so we would like to have that take place. Mr. Warden, I think you're coming up to help us.
Good evening, Superintendent Lance and board members. It's my honor to bring these names to you. These are our 2025-26 Illinois Scholars. So when I call your name, come up on stage. We do have one scholar that is not here tonight. The first scholar's name is Jorge Arellano. Our next Illinois State Scholar is Gavin Allen. Gavin is the son of Josh and Gretchen Allen. He participated in band, show choir, Tri-M Music Honor Society, jazz band, JROTC, and Scholastic Bowl. His honors include being on the National Honor Society, an honors and AP student, and being an early college program at KCC, where he is on track to graduate from KCC in May with 5 certificates in welding and machining. He will also earn his associate degree in December 2025 in welding technology. Gavin has volunteered at Life Compass Church, where he is in the worship team band and teaches guitar to youth at Life Campus Arts. Gavin plans on earning his associate degree from KCC and hopes to transfer to Faria in Big Rapids, Michigan to earn his bachelor's in welding engineering. Gavin Allen. Our second scholar is Baylor Case. Son of Stephen and Christine Case, he has participated in symphonic, marching, and jazz bands. He also participated in track and field and cross country. His honors include being part of the Tri-M Music and National Honor Societies. Baylor has volunteered mainly through National Honor Society, which includes helping at his church annual festival, the Merchant Street Music Fest, and multiple events at KHS, including KVTA. Outside of volunteer work, Baylor had a job as a member of a mentor to younger students through a youth empowerment program. Baylor plans to attend Olivet Nazarene with a music education major and a recording arts minor. Baylor Case. Our next scholar is Aiden Fields. Aiden is the son of Alan and Kristen Fields. He has participated in JROTC wrestling, where he is the team captain and current president of the National Honor Society. His honors include being an AP student with distinction and being on the KCC President's List. Aiden has volunteered at State's Attorney's Office, where he is an intern, and has volunteered many times through National Honor Society and JROTC. Aiden plans on going to a university and receiving a bachelor's in political science, and then moving on to law school after graduation. Aiden Fields. And our fifth Illinois State Scholar is Emma Palmer. Daughter of Stacy and Gordon Palmer, she has participated in an early childhood program at KCC. Her honors include being the National Honors in the National Honor Society, the Tri-M Music Honor Society, and being part of Phi Theta Kappa at KCC. Emma volunteers at Sunrise Animal Shelter every Saturday, and Emma plans on attending college to become a vet tech or an English teacher at Parkland.
Yes.
Emma Palmer. And these are our 2025, 26 Illinois State Scholars. Thank you very much.
Good job, guy. Good job, guys and gals.
Nice job.
Well done. And next year, we hope to have 45 or 50.
Working on it.
Okay, we have good news. So, Dr. Gilbert, your turn.
We do have a lot of good news, so I'd like to present this information a little bit differently than I have in the past. I'm going to summarize some of the donations we've received. And as we begin, again, thank you to all that remember Kankakee School District and their donations. The first, I will highlight early childhood, would like to thank several of the partners that have supported the earliest learners of our district. The Ladies of the Score, the Knights of Columbus, Ladies of Serenity Roses, and the partnership with Sleep and Heavenly Peace have provided numerous donations to the Early Childhood Center, from hats and gloves, winter coats, also some meals and some winter clothing. And we even have had a few donations from Sleep and Heavenly Peace for beds for our children in need. So those are the donations from our Early Childhood Center. Kiwanis Club has also donated coats to several of our buildings, including Edison, LCC, and Steuben. We've also received additional coat donations from Kankakee First Church, as well as the Teamsters of their donations of coats, hats, gloves, and socks, all the wonderful things we need to stay warm. Kankakee Realtors Association, the Kankakee Federation of Labor, has donated coats and other items to our district as a whole, as well as Kennedy and Twain. Additional donations received over this last month include gift cards Edison would like to thank Monocles and Panda Express for their gift cards received during the holiday season. The Kankakee County Sheriff's Department also did a Shop with a Cop for several students at Steuben. Thank you very much. We had received some office and donation classroom supplies at Steuben as well. Kathy Brick, I apologize if I said your name incorrectly, had donated several handmade, homemade blankets for students district-wide, so thank you very much. Oh, I'm missing a few. Holly Grant has provided some donations for holiday gifts. Mr. Eric Penrod has donated 2 cameras and camera equipment for students in the K's media classes. And Nancy Moore at Riverside Hospital has donated school supplies and snacks to Taft School, as well as Christmas for 22 of the families at Taft. Finally, 2 additional donations. A Secret Santa hand-carved a dump truck and donated it to one of the students and included $100 within that truck. And that was for a student at Taft. And finally, ICANN, our Regional Office of Education, collects money for Jeans Days that the staff can wear at their office, and they chose our district this month for their donation, and we will use that jeans donation for our students who are lacking fixed, adequate, and regular housing at this time. So thank you to all the wonderful donations we've received over this last month.
Thank you. Moving on to instruction.
This evening, Instructional Programs is requesting 2 recommendations for your approval. The first is to complete a curriculum and instruction audit. And the second is for the Illinois Needs Assessment, a partnership with the American Institutes for Research. So as I look first at the curriculum and instruction audit, we are seeking your approval for the audit, which will include a request for proposal. So following our board meeting tonight, if you approve our recommendation to proceed forward with an audit, an RFP, which is a request for proposal, will be generated and shared with different entities that are already partners with the district, as well as being posted on our district website for other entities to consider applying. You see here before you a pretty aggressive timeline, which includes an opportunity for us to review all proposals, as well as interview 2 to 4 companies that are interested in conducting the audit for us. It would include both a curriculum as well as an instruction audit with 2 different timelines, with May, the deadline for the curriculum audit to be completed, and moving into the beginning of next school year for the instructional audit to be completed. Of course, upon your approval and the completion of the audit, we would bring all findings and recommendations to district leadership and the Board of Education for consideration.
Any questions from the board on that audit? Can you just tell us what we're hoping to find out with that audit, both curriculum and instruction?
Of course. So we're looking to really look at our curriculum as a whole. So how are we aligned, both vertically and horizontally, within the various content areas from pre-K through our high school students, so through grade 12. Additionally, looking at the alignment within curriculum and instructional practices for all students, as well as within specialized programs, including early childhood, English learners, as well as special education. So looking ahead to ensure that what gaps we may have, we can address, and the strengths that we continue to leverage for those opportunities moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
The Illinois Needs Assessment is a partnership with the American Institutes for Research. The Illinois State Board of Education requires a needs assessment for newly designated schools. So we have 3 schools that were designated in our last school report card. That is Edison Elementary identified as intensive, Kankakee Junior High is intensive, and Steuben Elementary School as intensive. The Illinois State Board of Education requires this needs assessment due to this new designation status. They also require the assessment to be completed by the American Institutes for Research, which they have already contracted with to complete these assessments. So the goal for each of the schools in our district as a whole is to look at what the strengths and areas for improvement are within school improvement, as well as looking at the findings that would ultimately be used for school improvement planning and any other strategic decisions. There are 4 main indicators of the assessment that would be completed, looking at leadership and vision, curriculum instruction and assessment, culture and climate, as well as the targeted instruction and support. Here you will see a variety of different interactions, including the opportunity to engage in student voice at both the elementary and secondary, as well as looking at this continuum that will identify of the assessment areas where each school lies within each of those indicators. So are they at the initial stage, emerging, established, or robust? And so the American Institutes for Research, which is also known as AIR, would meet with our building leaders, which we have tentatively scheduled for January 27th. After that meeting, which would probably be towards the beginning of February, they would be on site doing some data collection, and then have about 4 to 6 weeks after the visit to prepare the report that would be shared with school leaders, district leadership, as well as our Board of Education. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Hearing none. This is to comply with the request of the Illinois State Board of Education, that assessment, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Thank you. There are no other questions. Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. Next item on the agenda is listed as the Superintendent's Advisory Committee.
And so coming up is Dr. Williams, Dr. Sheila Harrison Williams, and Ms. Gloria Davis. These were our 2 committee chairs for the Superintendent's Advisory Committee.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you all again. Congratulations.
Good evening, Board of Education and Dr. Lance. We are happy to be back with you. And good evening to the audience, and another special congratulations to those Illinois scholars. That is fantastic. Tonight, we're going to give you a thorough overview, as long as the superintendent lets us keep talking, of the comprehensive report. We have one of our wonderful committee members sitting right here. But again, I'm Gloria J. Davis, and one of the facilitators, and this is Dr. Sheila Harrison Williams. We're going to start with just letting you know that this comprehensive report, the Superintendent's Transition Advisory Committee, was an outgrowth of the concept from the new superintendent. I don't know if we would still call her new right now, but, but the idea was fantastic in that it utilized the entire community in terms of sending notification out to those who would be interested, and then based on those who said that they would like to participate, a number was selected, and then from there we met throughout the first semester from about September all the way through the end of November. So what we're going to share with you tonight is the results of all those conversations, the data that was utilized, and what the committee felt would be beneficial for the school district and the Board of Education to know in moving forward. The whole thought and context around this concept is that we can move from this transition committee into a strategic planning process to continue to help move the district forward. So with that, you see before you, first and foremost, the 5 major goals that the superintendent had set and is working through right now. The first being to just concentrate on at the organizational efforts and how all the resources and the information is aligned to further college and career readiness for all students, and especially focus on the gaps they're in. Second major goal was to look at the idea of having, as soon as I turn to the page, right here, to establish and promote highly effective governance, building trust with the community, building trust with the staff, building trust with students, and all members align. Third major goal, increasing the organizational effectiveness and efficiency in a timely manner. And we'll be talking more about each one of these goals. Fourth goal, establishing that positive district culture and understanding the cultural diversity of all the different nationalities and individuals within the community as it benefits the students and also benefits the community as a whole. And the last goal, number 5, again, really ensuring that public trust and confidence is evident in everything that takes place throughout the school district. Okay, and I'll just continue and tell you a little bit quickly about myself. I am a retired school superintendent of 16 years, originally from St. Louis, and have been living in Chicago now for the past 10 years, but also was a superintendent in Kansas, and then here in Illinois, working through the governor's office, superintendent of the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice. Also currently serve as the president of the Illinois Alliance of Black School Educators, which is a state organization, and very much involved in working with superintendents and school districts across the country as well as Kankakee.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we'll go back. Can you hear me okay if I just not move the mic? Can you hear me? I'm kind of loud. All right. I'm Sheila Harrison Williams. I, too, am a retired superintendent. I served 18 years as superintendent in the south suburb of Chicago. Retired about 5 years ago. Went on to become a director for the Arizona School Boards Association, came back home, and I'm currently serving as the Illinois Association of School Administrators Director of Field Service for the West Cook, South Cook, and Three Rivers region, which also includes this area. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve this last semester with Dr. Lance and her team, and we're happy to report here tonight. And we want to go back. I just want to go back, and that's who I am. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and I hope that you are as proud of this document that we put together as we are, and the work that the team put together. So I just want to go back and acknowledge the Board of Education for allowing us to just move forward with this, and the board president, Mr. Bolin, I messed his name up before, Mr. Gathing, Mary Archie, who's not here. You know, we're praying for you to get better. I hope you can hear me. Susie Baronis, and Deb Johnson. Just want to also send a shout out to her. We miss her. I met her on a couple of occasions, and she was nothing but a ball of energy. Love that lady. So we're going to miss her. And also Ms. Verrett, Tracy. And congratulations. Congratulations to Ms. Baroni, right? Baroni, Ms. Baroni. Congratulations. And I'm sorry, Darrell Williams. Mr. Williams, I know you're on the phone. I hope you get well soon. Thank you, too, for the opportunity. Okay, I think I keep going.
Yes, you do.
All right, I keep going here. Okay, so I'm still on me. So the purpose of the Superintendent's Transition Advisory Committee was to analyze data collected from Dr. Lance's listening tour and summary statements, thought exchange results, organizational charts, the state assessment data, local assessment data, student learning outcomes, financial forecasts, and the Illinois Five Essentials Survey. From the analysis, a comprehensive report was created to identify the strengths, the opportunities for improvement, and the suggestions of 2 or 3 recommendations for future work. and that's on the 4 areas, and we'll get to that in a moment. Dr. Lance utilized a lot of different communication mechanisms to invite members of the school community to participate in the process, and there were 57 individuals who answered that call to serve on her transition committee, and 38 were selected. So the members of there are a number of members of the transition committee that are here, but we're going to acknowledge all of them throughout the presentation. But they're here, and again, I want to just say how grateful I am to have had an opportunity to work with some of the finest people here. Thank you all for your service. Thank you for your work. It was a labor of love. We'll just put it like that. But it was really nice to work with you guys. The members of the Superintendent Transition Advisory Committee were assigned to 4 subcommittees. One was about community. Click this. One was about community and family engagement, educational equity, operation efficiency, and then teaching and learning. And these areas will be the basis of our conversation this evening. So we're going to go through all of those. All right. And I've already gotten to the very first one. I'm going to begin with community and family engagement. And I would like to introduce, some of them are here, and if you're here, you want to stand up, please do. Beth Anderson, Carrie Clody, Cherie Harwell, who is also a subcommittee facilitator, Kelly Johnson, Rebecca Parks, also subcommittee co-chair, please stand. Ricky Tucker, I know I saw Ricky. Ricky Tucker, Ronnie Wilcox, if you're here, please stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you all so much for all the work that you did in that subcommittee. The Kankakee school community and staff, family, voices, they all participated. They voiced significant strengths, notable challenges through various engagement initiatives, including what I just talked about. But in this particular subcommittee, they listened to and looked at the data from the listening sessions, the thought exchange, and the 5 essential surveys. And they had 3 questions that they were asked to answer. It's hard for me to do. Number 1, does the community trust us? Number 2, are we effective in our communication, receiving and sending? How do we know? So we looked at all of the data, and we looked at it focused on these questions. You gonna do it? You're gonna try for it? Okay, thank you. Next slide. Thank you. And so we broke out the strengths, and we broke out the challenges, and then we talked about the recommendations. So let's start with the strengths of the district from the community and family engagement's point of view. There were a variety of perspectives, backgrounds, and there are, right here in this room, if you look around, it looks really good. You got all sorts and all kinds of background, people, cultures, the students, the parents, the staff, all of that contributes to a dynamic educational environment. According to the Illinois School Report Card, the student population of Kankakee School District 111 is comprised of 47.3% African Americans, 33.8% Hispanics, 15.1% whites, and 3.8% others. So I think that is very diverse, and that is where you're going to get your strength, in that diversity. It has to be, cultivated, and we're going to continue to work on it. The second strength was collaboration through partnerships. The involvement of the Kankakee School District alumni reflects a commitment to the district and a sense of pride in its achievements. The alumni engagement helped build legacy of support, providing resources and mentorship for our students. And the district's collaboration with local community agencies and businesses promotes a network of support. And these partnerships enhances the educational resources that the district have and create events for families to come together. And the third is athletics cultivate pride and unity. The sporting events serve as a communal gathering for this area, reinforcing connections among the families and community members, and enhancing school spirit. Next slide, please. All right. The next three are challenges, the community and family engagement challenges. Challenges that that were brought up were lack of trust and division. A significant challenge within the community and district is the lack of trust and division among various stakeholders. Many individuals feel disconnected, which can hinder collaboration and create barriers to engagement. The next one, negative and inadequate communication. The existing communication style is often perceived as negative or inadequate, impacting relationships among the staff, educators, families, and community members. And then the limited family involvement. The data sources frequently reported that the families are uninvolved with the district, leading to limited family engagement in school activities and decision-making process. A great example of that was the 5 Essentials. I've mentioned the 5 Essentials survey that's given every year. There was not enough parental or family involvement where we can actually count what the parents felt and what they thought about the district, because there was no participation, not enough participation to count. Next slide, please. So from that information, the Subcommittee for Community and Family Engagement put forth the following recommendations: to promote family and community engagement and increase cultural competence, communication systems, and development. The data indicates that the families may need assistance in connections to enhance engagement. In addition to that, the team discussed the possibilities of adding family support specialists for grades K-12. Their thinking is that these specialists can serve as liaisons, helping to address concerns and facilitate communications between the two groups. The group was unable to gather meaningful information from the 5 Essentials due to the low family involvement, and this limitation prompted the group to develop recommendations and strategies aimed at increasing engagement. And they developed 9 recommendations just to get parents more involved in the 5 Essentials. I won't go through all 9 of those tonight. Increase cultural competency, and that should have been changed to say understanding and respecting diverse backgrounds to foster trust, because that's what it does. Strengthening the ties with the Hispanic community, continue to build the dual language department aimed at building trust and rapport with the Hispanic community. Providing bilingual resources and support will encourage greater involvement. The third one is communication systems development. The district should create a dedicated communication system and department focused on family and community engagement. And there are proven communications, and they list a number of them that the district could use. They could ask, what is the preferred communication method? Using text messages, district-wide call stations, and improve the website, community event participation to increase attendance there. So in conclusion, the district can build trust, strengthen relationships, and ensure that all voices are heard by prioritizing culturally competent communications and activities involving families.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. The next subcommittee that we will highlight was the Educational Equity Subcommittee, and you see the names of the subcommittee members before you. I will also call their names if they're here. Would you please stand? Angelique, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Ambers, Rose Bailey, Jamise Cleggett. Jessica Fredericks, I think she's here. Oh, there she is, I know her so. Dr. Kelly Gilbert was one of the co-chairs, Jamise was as well, Lisa Mulder, and Pamela Powles. Okay, the two questions that the Educational Equity Subcommittee had to address, first and foremost, is our school system free from oppressive practices that prohibit our students from accessing opportunities and resources? Free from oppressive practices. And if so, how do we know? So, based on that, the strengths that the Educational Equity Committee highlighted, first and foremost, were the community collaborations and partnerships. Here, it was really highlighted through the thought exchange and the listening and learning tour that all students should have access to, equal access to extracurricular activities and be available, have community collaborations available to them. That it's important to have students to know that this is a vital part of their education and using the community resources to help them really flourish, as we saw tonight with all of the community activities, for example, the Illinois Scholars have been a part of. And we know that as we look at educational equities, you just heard the statistics and the percentages in terms of diverse students and how it is important to have all different types of activities that then will interest various students in whatever area they enjoy. And as we look at the collaborations and partnerships with Kankakee Community College, Olivet Nazarene University, Kankakee Area Career Center, and all of then the students' participation as they can then enroll in the dual courses and earning those associate degrees that, again, you heard tonight in terms of, and also receiving career certifications and endorsements. I just heard one of the scholars is going to be go into welding and look at a certificate in that area, so that's fantastic. And so the strength was to have the district continue to offer those. One of the strengths was also mentioned is the Montessori Elementary program, more or less mainly from the standpoint of it is one of the K-8 buildings and one of the K-8 programs, and you're going to hear more about the structure of the various schools within the districts as it relates to the number of moves. So that's one of the reasons that program was highlighted. And then the early childhood program was also indicated as another strength, meaning that education starts with the very young, and as students receive quality education in their very early years, this helps to then have a smooth and quality transition into kindergarten and on through the primary grades as well. Some of the challenges that were highlighted in the Educational Equity Committee. First and foremost, teacher staffing. It was indicated that with the 2024-25 Illinois report card, 37% of Kankakee teachers are identified as non-licensed, meaning they're classified as instructors. And this is an area where, and I just heard we're going to have a curriculum audit, and that's going to help a whole lot in this area. But staffing is extremely important, and all teachers, as they work toward being in front of students in their respective areas at the elementary, junior high, and high school, the thought is that we need to have those that are fully licensed and qualified in their respective areas. So teacher staffing, it was a critical area that the Equity Committee highlighted as a challenge. And understanding that that 37% that I mentioned, which you're also going to see more information about, is higher in some schools in terms of the number of non-licensed teachers than it is in others. And that then presents an equity issue. One of the other areas was teacher retention. It was really stressed that, in the data again, that it is critical to student success to have teachers that are in the district for years and years and years. And again, I see we have some of our international teachers, so congratulations to you. But it's critically important that we have teachers in the classroom, and to have them, once they're in the classroom and trained in professional development and course instruction, that they are able to stay. So teacher retention becomes a very critical area and a challenge right now in the district that we know is being worked on, but it was an area that still needs to really be strengthened. The third challenge was cultural barriers as it relates to being able to assess and work with students and teachers in terms of the various cultural backgrounds of the students. It was indicated through the data that there is sometimes a disconnect in terms of understanding students from various backgrounds, understanding their families, and being able to connect with them in a way that is critically important to the student's success. So having teachers and staff that understand all of the various backgrounds of the families and students that are a critical part and a vital part of the Kankakee School District. Another very critical challenge that was highlighted was a lack of trust in the Human Resources Department. We know that the superintendent and the Human Resources staff are working very hard to improve this area, but it was very much stated in several of the data pieces that trust in being able to communicate information with school principals, being able to make sure that hiring practices are known and understood and communicated on a regular basis, making sure that we have the right staff in place, as sometimes is said, the right people in the seat on the bus, and to make sure that we are doing everything that is humanly possible to have staff and those that apply to Kankakee feel that they are trusted and valued. Based on these challenges and strengths, the following recommendations were highlighted by the Equity Committee. First and foremost, as I just stated, establishing policies and procedures for the Human Resources Department and the administration as it works with the schools throughout the district. Making sure that those policies and procedures are known, making sure those policies and procedures are written and communicated on a regular basis, making sure that principals understand that when they have vacancies, that there is a procedure in place to help fill those vacancies, making sure that staff is hired that are highly qualified, going back to the concept of licensed versus non-licensed teachers, and making sure that as the Human Resources Department continues to progress, as we know that it is currently doing, that the policies and procedures are very much aligned and consistent on a regular basis. Continuing to partner and communicate with parents throughout the school year at a very early stage. It is one of the critical areas to make sure that parents understand what is needed and expected of their students from September on, and then in that way, having that communication done in all different languages and to address all the various cultures throughout the school district. Continuing on with other recommendations, developing a system that makes teachers, staff, students feel valued, feel safe in terms of working with each other and trusting each other, going back to one of the previous areas, making sure that everyone that is working together feels a collegial family atmosphere, feels that they are able to, their opinions are valued, that they're able to express their thoughts and ideas, to be creative and have those thoughts and ideas shared in a very meaningful way. continuing to build on those extracurricular activities that we talked about earlier, as well as community collaborations, and making sure, again, that we look at early childhood programs from the very beginning all the way through the primary and elementary schools. Okay? And we will move on now to Operational Efficiency Subcommittee.
Okay. Operational Efficiency Subcommittee members are here. Some of them, I believe, are here. I saw a couple. Would like to acknowledge, and please stand, Nana Bansu, Maria Calderon, Crystal Clifton, who's also a subcommittee facilitator, Janet Jaros, Angela Shea, Ayana Smith, also a subcommittee facilitator. I know I saw her. Mr. Robert Ellington Snipes, I know he's here. So we're talking.
Front row.
Kim Starkey, Charles Bill Tudor. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you all so much for all that you do, all that you've done to bring this to life. The Operational Efficiency Committee undertook a comprehensive analysis of the district's finances and facilities. They had 3 questions that they had to answer. Does our organization provide safe, clean, and high-quality educational environments? Are we economically efficient, effective, and sustainable? Then how do we substantiate our conclusions? Those were the 3 questions that drove this committee. The team reviewed facilities assessments conducted by DLA architects for each school building they did back in 2017. That was the latest, which serves as a foundational reference for evaluating the condition of each facility. Another critical source of information was the Board of Education's finance report presented at the September 2024 board meeting. This report encompassed the current school year's budget, historical data, and projections extended through 2019. The team also considered the state's 5 essential survey. While not central to their analysis, this survey provided insight into the students' perception of safety within the buildings. Oh, you put it, thank you. The strengths that they came away with were district resources. Notable strength included the resources provided by the district, such as a food truck offering free meals through the food service department, as well as new teacher resources like a dedicated website, a mentoring program, Google Classrooms, then student resources, including one-to-one device allocation, iPads for kindergarten and first grade students, Chromebooks for students in grades 3 through 12. These were also highlighted. Then school safety. Safety was a strength because it was identified because of the new installation of surveillance equipment at both the junior high and high school to provide additional security for students, staff, and community members. And then you had community and civic partnerships. The community partnerships emerged as a significant strength, fostering relationships between students and staff. Community and civic partnerships engagement is critical to the upward mobility of educational excellence. These partnerships offer mentorship, counseling, tutoring, access to resources, and real-world experiences, thereby enriching students' support. And then, of course, we have the community center, which was mentioned as a potential strength. We're getting there. The challenges. The one challenge was the outdated facilities. The committees identified several challenges, but the first one was that many of the buildings are outdated and require regular repair and upgrades. And this concern was highlighted numerous times. It was highlighted numerous times throughout the thought exchange. And you don't see it here, but you'll see it later on in our report. But we actually looked at the age of all the buildings, how much it will actually cost to fix the buildings up, to bring them up to code today, how many classrooms each of them have, and how many of them are equipped with air conditioning. You'll hear more about that later. And the second one is the lack of transparency and fiscal responsibility. And what's meant by that is the responsibility in the allocation and management of funds. This was referenced numerous times throughout the thought exchange. The concerns were raised regarding the management of the grant funds and transparency in their use. There are also excessive payments to consultants were also mentioned as an issue that should be explored. And then the third being, district, it's not up there, but district communication and procedural clarity. That's the third challenge, and particularly within the Human Resource Department, which adversely affects the other departments. A related concern regarding communication was the use of outside consultants in the district. The thought exchange mentioned concerns about the cost and the purpose of the outside use of the outside consultants. In addition, the absence of an employee handbook was noted throughout the thought exchange data. And the last challenge is safety measures in equity. It's not taking away from what you saw as a strength, meaning we have all of these things in place to keep the kids safe at the junior high and high school. What this means is that, yes, the high school, the junior high, and even Avis Huff, those programs have cameras and systems, but they're not available in all of the schools, and that brings about the inequity. Their recommendations is the district should conduct a new feasibility study and develop a comprehensive plan for repairs and improvement of the schools. The second one is there should be a cost-benefit analysis of how external consultants are currently being used in the districts. The district should complete a comparative analysis of staff compensation with other similar unit districts and an employee handbook that clearly outlines expectations and responsibilities for all staff. And those were their recommendations.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. The last subcommittee is the Teaching and Learning Subcommittee. And this subcommittee, you see the names of the individuals highlighted on the screen, starting with Dr. Michael Boyd, Michelle Dahl, Stephanie Gardner, and again, if you're here, please stand and be recognized. Gabrielle Garrett, Karen Greal, Edith Petty, Christine Porter, Dr. Yvette Rose, Tracy Seelock, Jenny Way, and Cynthia Veranda. And Tracy and Gabrielle and Jenny were the committee facilitators, so thank you. Okay. The questions that the Teaching and Learning Subcommittee had to answer were extensive. Are we exposing all students to coursework that is grade level appropriate? Are all students able to demonstrate grade level competence on district and state level assessments? And do students with disabilities receive the same necessary resources and supports that they need? And to all of these questions, how do we know? The Teaching and Learning Committee looked at a lot of the same data that we have mentioned previously, the thought exchange, the 5 essential surveys, and all of the information that they could gather and garner that relates to teaching and learning. And as they did, they came up with the following strengths. looking first and foremost at the diversity of the student body, as we mentioned earlier, that's a real strength of the Kankakee Public Schools, that the staff is working with students from various backgrounds, and that's critically important to understand those students as you look at having programs and high-quality learning taking place for students of various backgrounds. The program opportunities that the district currently offers. We talked about some of those as it relates to high-level academic courses, AP courses, dual enrollment courses, all of the different programs at the elementary and junior high and middle school levels. We have a chart on that shows some of those programs as well that you're going to see in a minute. And committed staff. One of the things that was highlighted in a lot of the data is that there are committed staff in Kankakee, and we celebrate and appreciate them that have been here for a long term. As we move from there to then look at the challenges that were highlighted in teaching and learning, first and foremost, low academic performance and ineffective instructional supports. This was an area that was highlighted with some of the recent data, for example, at the elementary and middle school levels with in English and language arts, students performing at the 25th percentile level, 25% in math efficiency, 5% in science proficiency, and English learner progress, 5%. There is a Herculean effort that is needed in making sure that students are receiving the highest quality education that they can receive. And your approval, I think, of the curriculum audit, which we also have in our report, will severely help with that. One of the other areas that was mentioned as a challenge, the shortage of licensed teachers. One of the charts that we have available is looking at the fact that we have within the district 83 teachers that are non-licensed versus 177 licensed. So the shortage of licensed teachers, and again, thank you to the international group that is sitting right in front of us this evening, but we know that the Human Resources Department is working very diligently to improve this statistic, but that was mentioned as a severe challenge within the district. Trust and communication. We've talked a lot about this area and some of the other subcommittee reports, but it's just to let you know that this is an area that came up over and over again. Making sure that families receive the information that they need, making sure staff within the school districts receives the information that they need, making sure that people are heard and that their thoughts and ideas are able to be shared and then valued, and then having trust that once those areas are mentioned, discussed, and talked about in terms of committees and various reports, that then something is done about it. That's how you build trust. Moving on with the next set of challenges, low and or inconsistent expectations and perception regarding athletics. We mentioned earlier that athletics is a strength, but it was also mentioned that athletics should not take priority over academics. That we have to make sure that, yes, we want students to participate in extracurricular activities, but first and foremost, we are a school district dedicated to educating students. And those students need to make sure that they are receiving a quality education. So one should not precipitate the other and be held to a higher standard, if you will. The other challenge that was mentioned was the structure of elementary schools that currently exist and the transition between the grades. We're going to talk a little more about that in our final recommendations, but this was a huge area that was mentioned over and over again. Too many students have to go through too many different buildings before they hit high school, and thus not having that connectivity and that structure between the teachers, the staff within the school before they then have to transition to another building. The other area that was mentioned was high absenteeism among staff. This was highlighted in the Illinois report card, and listed as something that via the HR department, as well as the other departments within the school district, needs to address. Students need to be at school, staff needs to be at school. And so the district needs to continue to work in this area, and we know that that is something that they are continually addressing. The recommendations that were highlighted by the Teaching and Learning Committee were first and foremost to develop a plan to create and share district-level common goals for teaching and learning. We know that this will probably be a critical area in the curriculum audit that was mentioned before, but making sure that all staff understand that no matter which building you're in, which classroom you're in, there's a level of support, a level of quality teaching, and a level of supportive learning that must exist, and everyone should know what that is. And that has to be communicated over and over and over again so that it is clearly understood. I have a passion about that. Supporting buildings in developing key strategy and targeted areas, as I mentioned in the 5 essential school report. The other area of recommendations, building on the collaboration of teachers and really strengthening the professional learning communities concept with, again, common district goals, right? And right now, it was mentioned that depending on what building you're in, it works one way versus another way, and it should be consistent across the district. The other recommendation was supporting teachers in developing best practices. Again, everyone on the same page, being able to understand what works for all students. The other list is, in terms of recommendations, a mentoring program that is for all teachers, a mentoring program that is helpful to not only the teachers that are new to the district, but teachers that have been here, as well as those that have a license and receiving a license. Communicate the urgency of instruction should happen from the time the student walks in the door until the student leaves. Every minute of the day that they're here quality instruction should be offered. And then having a leveled professional development program that addresses the various needs of staff depending on where they are and what their learning needs are. With that, we know we've talked about the curriculum audit, so you see it was one of our recommendations from the committee, rather. And again, we've mentioned the absenteeism that needs to be addressed in terms of student achievement. We're trying to get through because we know we need to finish. Talking fast. So with that, just communicating the urgency of maximizing the instructional time, and making sure that also, as we talk about all the learning needs, that the social emotional health of students and staff has to also be paramount. And looking at the tiered intervention and support of how we address teaching and learning in terms of what is known as the MTSS system, but just making sure, again, that that's understood and utilized in a consistent manner. And then at the end of the day, evaluating the structure of all the programs within the district as it relates to all the staff. With that, we're going to close with quickly just final recommendations. We've mentioned many of those, so Sheila will start with the first one.
Quickly.
Quickly. We're going to go.
All right, quick and dirty. Restructuring of the current district-wide system of how schools are designed in terms of K-5 elementary, 6-8 middle school buildings. That is the first recommendation that came away from this. As Ms. Davis mentioned before, the children are in some cases, 6 schools, and then some 3 schools, 4 schools, and then we have one building that they are there for the K-8 building. So what we have here and what you're looking at there are where they are and the names of their programs. So I'm going to go through this real quick. If you're in a college and career academy program, you go through 6 schools. You matriculate through 6 different buildings. If you're in the magnet, not Montessori, you got 4. And if you're in a Montessori, that's 2, elementary, high school. So that's the number of moves between the buildings by programs. Final recommendation number 2.
The audit, we'll just say it is there, and congratulations that you will have proposals to put that in place.
Pending board approval.
Pending board approval.
Oh, yeah. Number 3, conduct a new facilities feasibility study, which would include development of a comprehensive plan for repairs and improvement of all schools. And this, what you're looking at here is really the information from 2017 and the cost of repairs for each of these buildings. And then also look at the number of classrooms. I went a little fast here, but you saw a school with 10 classrooms in it. So that's extremely small for an elementary school. So it lends itself to why kids are placed in schools the way that they are. But this is something, and if you look at the cost of repairs, we're talking millions of dollars for just a school. And then look at the age of the buildings. 1948, 1955, 1950s. These buildings are old. They're old. It can't even handle the window unit air conditioning. So just be looking out. You know, if you hear something like the word referendum.
Oh, God.
Not yet.
It's needed.
Not yet.
But you have to plant that seed. All right, the 4th recommendation, as I mentioned earlier, you just see the chart there with the licensed teachers and the non-licensed teachers. And just, especially for the board and for the public, just notice where the number of non-licensed teachers are in various buildings and the inequity in some cases of some schools having more than others.
Speak to it.
Yes, it needs to be addressed. And rec 6,
Establish consistent and clear policies, procedures for human resources in all central administration departments. And I hope you heard what I heard. It was a constant on human resource. We got to fix that, and I know that the superintendent is working on that. Then promote family and community engagement through a stronger system of consistent messaging, including reaching out to all families. You know, without our families, there would be no us.
Right.
So we have to work together. Okay.
and then the last 2 final recommendations, 7 and 8, again, improving trust. It came out over and over and over. People have to believe what you say, believe what you do, and your actions will dictate that. That's the essence of that. And then developing a district-wide system, again, making sure that all the schools in this day and age, in 2025, all schools having cameras, surveillance, and all the things that will help make sure that staff, students, and families are safe. That concludes our report. We know it was a lot. But it was comprehensive.
Owe me dinner.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, we
for
do.
sure.
Yes,
Thank
we
you
do.
all so much for.
Thank you, Board of-
participation and not
They might have
walking out on
questions.
us.
They might have
But this
questions.
is
They have questions,
They have
Sheila.
questions.
Are there any questions for the board?
Sit down.
Any questions
Thank
for the
you.
board?
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much
Yes,
for all of
thank
your
you.
interaction and
Thank
help
you.
guiding us through this. And thanks to all the community volunteers. This is a lot of information. It's why it took a long time to report on it tonight. But it's big information that we need to look at and follow up on and make sure that we're responsive to what we just heard. So thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Oh,
wait,
Darrell
one
has a question.
But Mr. Williams
Mr.
has a
Williams has a
question? I'm
question.
sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
When you talk about curriculum, which is my pet peeve, what are the statistics on kids doing grade level work and retaining what they what they'll learn, because we know of schools being tagged and kids are not learning. And is there, number two, and is there mostly certified teachers in those buildings?
You want to ask that one more time, not because of you, but because of the sound
I
system?
I said, what is the statistics on elementary school, 1 through 4, K through 4? K through 4 has been tagged over the last 4 years. Okay, and what are the statistics on the kids retaining information and learning? Are they learning properly? And two, is there more certified teachers in those districts in K through 4?
I would say, first and foremost, one of the things that your curriculum audit is going to show you is going to really dig deep into that very question. Based on our information through the data that we have, there are indications and test scores and anecdotal data in terms of how parents, staff, and others feel via surveys, said that all students are not doing grade level work, and thus need to have more instructional supports, more ability from professional learning for the staff, as well as the various curriculums that are presented for the utilization by the staff for the students to do. So the current data right now in terms of achievement data shows that there's work to be done. But I would say that your curriculum audit is going to give you a deeper dive into that in terms of exactly what's happening by school. And the chart that we presented will show the number of licensed and non-licensed teachers by building. And that'll help answer the second part.
That's the time.
That's okay.
I didn't catch the last part that the bell got me.
Okay, did we answer your question, Mr. Williams?
He didn't get the last part. He said.
Oh, he did not get the last part?
I said, for the last part, the second half of your question, the chart that shows the number of licensed and non-licensed teachers across the district by building will help you to know the number of staff that, in terms of the data, needs to continue to work to be certified and licensed by the state of Illinois, and those that have the largest number of staff that are already licensed.
But are our teachers licensed in K through 4?
In your material, Mr. Williams, is the report that was presented to us?
I don't have the material because I'm not there.
No,
That's okay,
it's
Mr. Williams, I'll
attached to
bring
your-
it to
So
you.
that's why I'm asking the question.
We'll make sure we get it to you, but it's also attached to your agenda. And in that report, I think you will see that there tend to be more licensed teachers as a percentage in the K through 4 buildings. But
Yeah, so that's, for me, that's a problem, because we're pushing licensed teachers. And the most important teachers are K through 4 because they offer a foundation, and the kids don't have no foundation when kids can't even read when they get to 4th and 5th grade. I mean, 5th and 6th grade. We got kids in 5th and 6th grade can't even spell their name. So, to me, if I'm going to push to have licensed teachers, then I need to push for them to do what they're supposed to do.
Mr. Williams, we don't agree.
That's just the way it is, because we're getting tagged. We're getting tagged in those buildings, and they got more certified teachers than any other building in the district. And we keep praising them, but we keep getting tagged.
well,
So is that something? Is not the board? Is that something that the principals need to step up and do? Do curriculum, head of curriculum, she needs to figure out which way, the best way to teach them, do, SLL. The team needs to come up with a better way to teach these kids, because there's no reason kids can't, give you basic information by the time they get to the 5th grade. And we're getting tagged by the state.
I believe that's what, why Dr. Gilbert, has asked for the audit, correct? So that we can kind of align all of that.
The reality is that this is a systemic problem. This is not just the result of licensed teachers, non-licensed teachers. It's a combination of things. Also, the results that we see in front of us didn't happen overnight. We're talking about years of our students underperforming. So this is not on one individual person or persons. This is a systemic issue. It starts from my level all the way down. So to say who we point fingers at, we got to begin to do the work across the board, top down.
You said from the top down?
Yeah, she said,
Yes, sir, that includes me.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
That includes the superintendent from the top down.
Okay. I didn't, thanks, Jess, because I didn't hear that last part.
Yep.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Neal, it's up to the business office report.
30 seconds.
He's got a lot of material.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mic was on.
He's got to get up here.
Hey, take it.
Checkbook balances, good night. No, I'll make this as quick as I can here. I don't know if I can do 30 seconds, but I'll try. So this is our usual financial report, and it looks really good this month. You can see we've ended December with about close to 16 million in surplus across all funds and about 13 million in the operating funds. Of course, that is not money we get to go spend. That is money that is sitting there waiting for bills in the future to come, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We had more revenues come in December than we did the prior December. So it was a significantly higher month than it had been previously. We have had about 60% of our revenues come in already, but we've only spent about 50% of our expenditures, which makes sense. We're about halfway through the year, but we still have the other half to go, and that will draw down the balance between now and the end of the year. So we're still in good shape, but we do need to be mindful to make sure that we stay within our means. The cash flow, as you can see, we're being pretty consistent across the years. The big difference between this year and last year is we're not doing all the construction projects, particularly with the community center, and we don't have the ESSER funds. So those are the two big differences this year. Any questions on my rapid financial report?
No, thank you.
No.
Just a couple of other quick things. In one of our action items, we are disposing of a truck. The truck doesn't run. It's going to cost about as much as it's worth to repair it. We decided it was not worth that, so that's the purpose of that. And we already do have a situation worked out to dispose of that truck for about $3,000 worth of credit at the mechanic where our vehicles are repaired. So we hope that you'll approve that. Just wanted to mention briefly, I know I had some questions about the budget impact of bringing in a bunch of new teachers mid-year, but we do have the funds to cover it, as you saw, and we will make sure that we adjust next year's expectations accordingly so we don't put ourselves in danger. But for FY26, we're coming up on FY26. That's next year, folks. So we're going to start working on the budget here in January, February, and I'm starting to talk with the executive cabinet first. And then we're going to start working with directors and principals next. So I'm coming, folks. I'm going to tell you how much you can have, and you're going to tell me how much you'll want, and we'll see where they meet here. And then finally, we got the school maintenance project grant. So we will be able to complete a portion of Mark Twain's roof that is very problematic, and we will have that fixed hopefully this summer. So that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
That's the first time he got an applause.
Dr. Anderson, you get to follow that.
Yes, absolutely.
60 seconds.
Good evening.
15 seconds.
Good evening.
So I'll just take my time since everyone else is rushing. Let me say good evening to the board president, the Board of Education, Superintendent Lance, and our community. So Dr. Williams and Ms. Davis was right on point. Because the only thing we've been doing in human resources is pushing to hire the best, highly qualified, and fully certified teachers. So in very short order, you can take a look, recruitment calendar. We have a calendar already online telling you where we're going to be. We will be at the HSIs and the HBCUs, looking for the best and brightest minority teachers as well. Now, while we say that, ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear. We will not seek minority teachers just because they're minority teachers. We will be looking for the best and brightest teachers. Let's make that very clear. Let me tell you what else we're doing. Just wait just a moment. Take a look. We have 20 student teachers from right here in our own backyard. Let's take a look at those teachers. Coming from universities, Olivet, Governor State, Grand Canyon, Illinois State University, the National Louis University, and Western Illinois universities, right here in our backyards. And we will be ready to offer them a contract upon their completion of student teaching right here in Kankakee. And those are our teachers, student teachers right there. We're happy to have you. Principals, get ready. Let's work with them. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Where else can we go across this country looking for the best and brightest teachers, and here our president is taking off work to welcome our Kankakee international teachers, as well as some of our board members. Not only the board members, but our mayors, taking time out of his busy schedule to welcome our international teachers. And then none other than our illustrative superintendent of school is making it happen, ladies and gentlemen. She's making it happen. And we are so excited that we are going above and beyond to hire the best, the brightest, and highly certified teachers right here in Kankakee. So on behalf of our board president, the mayor of this wonderful city, and our superintendent of schools, and of course our Board of Education, oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for our international teachers. We have 15 international teachers with us tonight. Please stand, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Go ahead and let them know that we appreciate them already. They are most excited about being here, and we are excited about having you. And then let me tell you, board, we have hired one additional person, and we're calling her our international mother, who has taken the time riding with transportation every day to pick up our international teachers. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Morgan Harris at this time for working diligently. And not only Dr. Harris, but every department in this district has worked tirelessly to show our international teachers that we love you and we appreciate you. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Dr. Any questions? And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we have also City Life, Midland, I mean, they actually came here to the school, working with our international teachers, getting them set up for bank accounts, loans up front. They're staying at the Best Western. Kankakee has done a great job in working on behalf of our international teachers.
Yes.
Thank you all so very much. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm invigorated. That's cool.
Yeah, Dr. Brass.
Okay, to Dr. Albert Brass, who's going to talk to us about the high school.
Quickly. All righty. Good evening, Dr. Lance.
Good evening.
Board President Boylan.
Good evening.
And the board and community. My name is Dr. Albert Brass, Jr. I'm the principal here at Kankakee High School. Before I begin the presentation, I would like all of our staff at Kankakee High School to please stand at this time. Staff members from Kankakee High School, please stand, please. Please stand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also want to recognize our administrative team, Mr. Works, who works with our freshmen. Can you please wave, Mr. Works? Mr. Bohanek, who works with our sophomores. Ms. Steele, who works with our juniors. And Mr. Warden, who works with our seniors. Our motto, we are better together. We can, we will, and we must succeed. I'm excited tonight to share a little bit. I know I won't be before you long, so I promise I won't be before you long. But I want to be able to share some highlights of what's been going on here at the high school. Our students, we have approximately 1,400 students who attend Kankakee High School. Out of that, we have 44% are African American. We have 37% who are Hispanic. We have 16% that are white, and 2% recognized as 2 or more races. One of the things you heard earlier with the Illinois Scholars, an opportunity to partner with the Career Center and the KCC. We have 100 students right now who attend the Kankakee Area Career Center, and that's an awesome partnership for our students to begin that hands-on experience before graduating from high school. We have 107 students who attend between Kankakee Community College and Olivet Nazarene. And that's another opportunity for students to begin getting college credit before they graduate. So as we heard earlier, students being able to graduate early, and for our parents to be able to have less on tuition, having this opportunity is great because of those partnerships that we have in our community. We have 12.8% of our students are identified as having a learning disability who receive IEP services. And another thing that was mentioned in the report talked about our clubs and activities. We have 19 clubs and 29 varsity sports for our students. So we have opportunities for our students to get involved because we believe in the whole child, not just the academic and athletic piece. It's the whole child we're going to talk about. I was able to find some photos of some of our clubs. This photo here is a club, our band. They were down at the Circuit City Classic in Indianapolis. They had an opportunity to march in that. We also had our musical. Those who have been to our musicals here in the same auditorium know the work that takes place here. We appreciate the work of Mr. Benoit and his staff in making that happen, and also with the band with Mr. Render and his staff. And also, too, we have our ROTC program, which gives students another opportunity to prepare them for opportunities after high school, led by Major Stampley. I want to take a moment to talk about our staff. In this building, we have over 150 staff members that come to work each and every day that give their time and give their passion to our students. Of that 150 staff, we have 87 staff members who are instructional staff. Out of that 87 instructional staff, we have 27 instructors. We have 70 certified staff, which includes 5 SEL coaches and 5 school counselors. We have 6 clerical, 15 security officers, 12 full-time custodians, 10 paraprofessionals, 12 kitchen staff, and 3 ESL translators. Now, this photo just kind of typifies our staff. We also like to have fun as well. I was trying to upload this video because during our homecoming, these staff members had a relay race, and it was very, very interesting. But they really enjoyed it as well, and so did our students. Being able to see our staff connect with them, because it's really about relationships. And you'll hear me talk about relationships shortly, but this is just a form of relationships that our staff has with our students. Next, I want to talk about the academics. The SAT, last year was the last year we offered the SAT for the state of Illinois. We're moving toward the ACT, which we had years ago, which is going to be comprised of English, math, science, social studies, and a writing section. But last year on the SAT, you can kind of see how we fared on those two tests. In English, our overall score was 409. State average was 483. We had 23% of our students met and exceeded in English, whereas in math, we know we have some work that we continue to do within math. We scored 383 points, and the state average is 470, and we had 3% that met or exceeded. So we know some areas that we're going to work on, and you're going to see later within the presentation how we're going to begin that work. Here is our graduation rate. Last year, we had a graduation rate of 77.8, so we say 78%, an increase of 7% from the previous year. This information, this score is higher, actually look at prior to COVID. So we're excited to work that we're going in the right direction with that, but we know we couldn't have done none of this work without the staff I mentioned earlier. Every single staff member plays a role in our students' life and their success in our building. Our average daily attendance, as you can see, this is also an uptick from 2% from the previous year. This work has been done contacting parents, making those relationships, building a place where our students want to be and come where they feel safe. We know we still have work ahead, but as you can see, we're moving in the right direction as it relates to our graduation rate with an uptick of 2% since last year. Chronic absenteeism. This is an area where identified by the state, if a student misses 10% of their school day or the school year, which is approximately 18 days, that's how they identify as chronic absenteeism. We were able to decrease that last year by 7%. A lot of that work is meeting with families, having those earlier conversations, talking with the junior high schools, what students had problems previously, and starting to develop that relationship where students have a place and a person, an adult that they trust. So when they come to school, and we know if I'm involved in I'm a student athlete, we have a higher rate of students coming to school. But when I have a trusted adult in the building, our students are more likely to come to school. So we're building that partnership with our families and with our students to increase, and in this particular instance, decrease the number of students who are not coming to school. Our 9th grade on track, this is important for us as well. 9th grade on track indicates students have passed at least 5 academic courses, failing no more than a half a credit of a required course to graduate. Research says that students are 3.5 times more likely to graduate on time if they are on track at 9th grade. As you can see, this increase was a 16% increase from the previous year. I'm going to say that one more time. It was a 16% from the previous year that students were now on track to graduate. So we know 3 years from now, we're going to have a higher rate of graduating students just based upon the work that's taking place day in, day out with our students, with our staff. So we truly appreciate them for that. Also want to talk about some of our school improvement goals. By the end of 2024-25, there will be an increase, a percentage of students who score an increase of 10% or higher on the STAR reading assessment. Also, by the end of 2025, we'll have an increase of percentages on the benchmark by 10% from 41 to 51 as measured by the math. Last Monday, on January 6th, Ms. Steele, one of our assistant principals, worked with our teachers unpacking some of the STAR data so that our teachers are prepared to have that discussion with our students. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of that same week last week, Ms. Steele, along with Mr. Bohannick, brought students into the auditorium to give them their score report. We found over the years, students were taking assessments and not knowing why they were taking them. Not only not knowing why, but not getting their results. So it's imperative for not only our students, but for our parents, but to know where they are. But what's interesting is I talked to a young lady who's actually one of our track athletes, and I said, how'd you do on your test? said, Dr. Brass, I did okay. I said, no, how'd you do? Well, I really didn't try that much. I said, wait a minute. You're a track athlete. Everything you do is based upon points, PRing. And she said, you know what? You're right, Dr. Brass. Next time when I take it in spring, I'll be ready, because I didn't know why I was taking that test. So I think that's an important piece in that. The last thing we want to do, too, for our goal is our chronic absenteeism rate, as I mentioned earlier. We want to decrease that by 10%, bringing it from 62% down to 52%. So that's our last goal that we want to address as well. Looking at the classroom non-negotiables, on January 6th, Dr. Land sent the email to all staff in the district. This goal aligned with one of the goals you'll see in a few moments, but it's really targeted toward by April of 2025, 100% of our observed classrooms will have an aligned and posted learning objective, learning standard, and success criteria, coupled with aligned student tasks. That's important. So as you see, as we move forward, our long-term goals here at the high school are also, as I mentioned earlier, about relationships. So this is why it all comes together. Our goal is to build authentic relationships where 100% of our teachers and staff here at KHS have meaningful communication connections with students by engaging in daily interactions. Demonstrating empathy and fostering trust to create a supportive and inclusive learning environment. That relationship is huge. Next, we want to implement feedback-driven instruction. All teachers and staff that support instruction at KHS will use daily assessments, including bell ringers and exit tickets, to provide timely and actionable feedback and adapt instruction to address student needs and enhance learning outcomes. Our last two. We want to, as you heard, the one I said that Dr. Lansing indicated, this is very similar. We want to post and align clear learning objectives and success criteria. 100% of the teachers at KHS will visibly display learning objectives connected to competencies, accompanied by clearly defined success criteria, ensuring students understand what they are learning and why it matters. Lastly, facilitating active student engagement. 100% of the teachers will apply a gradual release of responsibility framework in daily lessons, ensuring students transition from a teacher-led instruction to an independent and collaborative engagement in the learning process. The learning process. Board and Dr. Lance, at this time, I would like to recognize one of our retirees. We are honored this evening. We have Crystal Cox, one of our longtime members here at the high school. I would like to recognize her. At this time, Ms. Cox, will you please rise? Ms. Cox, she was raised in Michigan and came to Kankakee area after meeting her husband, Jeff, who was raised in Kankakee. She started in the fall of 1991 and was one of 3 social workers in the whole district. She spent a lot of time in her car traveling between buildings. She has 5 wonderful children and 2 amazing grandchildren. She loves seeing former students in the community, usually at Walmart, and they always ask, haven't you retired yet? Now she can laugh and tell them in June. This is from Ms. Cox. KSD has given her many opportunities, fond memories, and lasting friendships for which she will always be thankful. Please help me recognize Ms. Crystal Cox. We're going to conclude with a short video of some of the highlights of our students and faculty.
Hola, mi nombre es Cristal Sánchez. Soy mexicana y un Kankakee K.
Hola, mi nombre es Steven y soy de Ecuador y soy un Kankakee Case.
Mi nombre es Samuel, soy de Colombia y soy un Kankakee K.
Mi nombre es Francisco y soy de México y soy un Kankakee Case.
Mi nombre es Perla Villa Gómez, yo soy de aquí de Kankakee, Illinois. Yo aquí trabajo en el distrito, yo soy mexicana y soy orgullosa de ser un Kankakee K.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brass. We're now for the point of public comment, and the microphone is right in front of us, down on the floor. The first person who signed up was Darius Savage. Right down here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I will not keep you long. This has been quite an epic experience. I just want to say a few words about hoping to prevent an injustice. I was in a meeting last Monday with at least 15 other employees in the role of permanent substitutes, and we were informed at that meeting that it would be proposed to the board that those of us with contracts and benefits, that basically we would lose those benefits and sick days and contracts if the board approved the proposal, and we would, if we wanted to continue in our employment with the district, have to be day-to-day subs, long-term subs. And I have to say, I think this is a very sudden, callous, and disrespectful way to treat a group of employees. I think that many of these permanent subs, myself included, have been doing this for several years, and in fact, investigated year to year to make sure that you would be returning to that school and planning accordingly. And to treat the livelihood of these people in this way is a way to do the exact opposite of generate more trust in the human resources department of the school district. So I would hope that you would not approve that and rather let the permanent subs approve and finish the contracts which were accepted and set out in good faith at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And I'm hopeful that the other practices that have been outlined in the various presentations and proposals and initiatives to invigorate and increase our certified teachers and decrease absenteeism will have the desired effect. But in the meantime, I hope that you will respect those who have been standing in the gap when 4 teachers call off in a single day, that you would respect us and let us finish our contracts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Shamika Fountain.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Lance. I have worked in Kankakee School District for the past 8 years as a principal and an assistant superintendent of human resource. I have built meaningful relationships with teachers, staff, community members, and most importantly, students. I was called into the superintendent's office on September 10th at 9:00 a.m. and informed that I was put on paid administrative leave, which is a suspension until an investigation of my performance was completed. When I asked the superintendent why was I being put on leave, the answer was for an investigation. The superintendent failed to inform me of any specific violations or behavior that led to the suspension. In addition, she consistently failed to give me due process, an opportunity to respond to any allegations, The rumor in the community that I was part of some scheme to steal funds from the school district that has never been stated in the meeting with the superintendent. However, it did seem that there was an effort to allow the community to believe that this had happened. Furthermore, I have never been provided the results of the forensic audit that was conducted, and I also did a FOIA request for it, and it was denied. On July 6th, I requested a complaint manager to sit in a meeting with the superintendent and I, as I had sent the email to the superintendent and the board president that I was experiencing a hostile work environment. My request was denied. I then requested that a meeting be recorded so that because there had been a history of false allegations towards me, such as me recording meetings, that request was also denied. At every meeting, I have been denied the ability to have a second person as a witness. As it relates to HR procedures, I expressed to the superintendent that I was uncomfortable with some of the decisions and the directives that I was given. I did not feel that people should be terminated without giving a reasonable time with their termination when it had nothing to do with discipline. I explained that the HR office was receiving a lot of angry calls and visits when someone's employment had been terminated without due process or a reasonable notification. My concerns were ignored. I requested to speak to the Board of Education on September 9th. I expressed my concerns and explained in detail to the board my issues. The very next day at 9 o'clock on September 10th, the superintendent put me on leave. I was escorted out of the building by the head of security, the former deputy chief of police in the Kankakee Police Department. I was not given the opportunity to gather my personal belongings. I was treated like a common criminal. Again, I feel that this was done intentionally to give a false narrative of the reason I was being recommended for termination. I want to go on record to say that I have never engaged in any criminal activity. Board Policy 5.240 states that the board or the superintendent may suspend a professional educator with pay during an investigation into the allegations of disobedience or misconduct whenever the employee continued presence would be in the school district's best interest. The policy further stated that the superintendent shall meet with the employee to present the allegations to give the employee an opportunity to refute the charges. The employee would be told the dates and time of the suspension would begin and end. There has clearly been a violation of this policy, as no allegations were presented to me. There was no opportunity for due process, no opportunity to refute the charges. There was no time limit given for the suspension. I was sent an email October 8th and was told to meet with the superintendent because she had conclusions. I received another email 2 hours later after that email saying that the meeting was canceled. It was not until December 4th that I received an email from the superintendent attached with the bill of particulars and a message that she would go over her high-level findings and recommendation to the Board of Education at the next board meeting, which was December 9th. Again, no opportunity for due process was afforded to me, and I was only given days to review the litany of charges that I had never seen before or had never been addressed about. My attorney requested a reasonable time to review the charges, and it was asked that documentation of evidence be sent to me. A 116-page document that consisted of emails with no explanations or narratives was sent on Friday. It has not been 5 minutes. But
It has been 5 minutes, but finish. Go ahead and finish.
Thank you so much. Although they emailed that to me, the comprehensive document with evidence attached was a misrepresentation of facts and allegations. I received that email on Friday, January 10th, to be prepared for this board meeting on this evening. In conclusion, it is important that the school district not mix politics and personal vendettas against people because of their relationships with others. If the new superintendent would have expressed that she wanted a cabinet that did not work with the previous superintendent, I would have been happy to tender my resignation effective June 30th without But we did not have a professional conversation. Rather, there was a creation of a hostile work environment, false allegations, and consistent harassment. Again, a conversation with expectations would have solved the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sam Jordan.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Lance, and congratulations, Ms. Aranda. I don't have a staff, but I want my team to stand up. My wife, Dariana, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, Derica, my sister, Christina, her boyfriend, Ron, my nephew, KJ. If anybody came to Lion King last year, I'm getting there. I got to go to the boys. My niece, Samara, my other niece is online, Shamice, and then my nephew, Kimani, and then my niece, Brooklyn. I'm here because I'm minding my business on the first day of the new year, and I hear a rumor that I'm off my meds. What does this mean? I left the district peacefully, and I'm minding my business. So I'm here off hearsay. I resigned from this district off hearsay. So now I got to come defend my name and everything I represent off hearsay. I recently resigned from the district on Monday, December 19th, after returning from the state of Washington, due to a second conversation that was unethical and unprofessionally conducted. However, I had a discussion meeting on Tuesday, December 17th, to complete my resignation and possibly establish some clarity. But the other party, they didn't attend. I moved forward as a result, and I stand before you today this evening because in y'all consent agenda tonight, Action H, Section 5, it states recommend policy manual changes second reading. We need to read what the manual says. We do GCN trainings. This district does GCN trainings, but it's a video. We want the kids to read, my new teachers. Make sure you read to the kids. Just don't show them a video, okay? In 2017, thanks to Chuck Hensley, I went and I started working for the district as a sub. Guess what? I went and got my sub license. There was no comprehensive plan, and this is no shade to nobody. There was a waiver from the government because there was a teacher shortage. That's what it was. But guess what? On December 7th, I seen Facebook, and it said $2,000 sign-in bonus for anyone that wants to be a new teacher. But guess what it didn't say? $2,000 for anyone that would like to go to school and become a teacher. I've been working with somebody to get back into school to go get my master's, and it takes 2 years to get certified to be a teacher. Who at 38 has time to stop raising a family and go to get certified? Please help me understand that. I'm waiting. Okay, so on top of that, they say it takes 2 years to get the certification. Okay, that's fine. I got to find ways to adjust my schedule. I still got to do instructional learning because I still got to observe a classroom and everything that it takes to be a certified teacher. It said it was 83 uncertified teachers. You hired about, 48. That's half of that. What are you going to do with the rest of your subs and whoever can just go to school and invest in your community? But no, I'm a passionate guy. I seen a lot of passion in this meeting today. I was born in Kankakee. I was born here. I graduated in 2005. You ask anybody that knows me, I'm a K to the heart. Nobody gonna rep the K like I do. Nobody. Nobody. You could go ask anybody and they is not K like me. I'm not K crazy. I don't even support that. K crazies. That's what we represent. We're K crazies. That's degrading. That's degrading. You put on a shirt K crazies, but when somebody start acting passionate, I'm done.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Not yet. Angela Shea. Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Awesome. So I wanted to come here tonight to say that I think that, where's Dr. Henderson?
Right there.
Yeah, you understood the assignment. It's all about the certified teachers. So I wanted to say that these are public comments, and I hope that the public hears me because there's a lot of incorrect information out there that I've seen. And one of the things about the waivers for the teachers that are here, the non-certified teachers, was when we started with competency-based education, and the idea was to have professionals come in and teach in their area of expertise. And that seemed like a really great idea, and in theory, it was a great idea. And then COVID happened, and the slippery slope started. And then our district began losing a lot of long-term, highly qualified, certified teachers that left our district to go other places and even take pay cuts to do so. You'll need to interview them to find out why they did it. Anything I say would purely be conjecture. But now that slippery slope has us at 37%. So thank you for doing this extra step to bring in these international teachers. If you get to be their mother, I get to be their grandmother. So we did take them on a tour and showed them some of the best parts of Kankakee. We have a field trip for the day that Yanaki's opens. I did show them all of your houses when we were on the bus tour. So nothing to be concerned about at all. But I want to make it absolutely clear to anybody else that's listening, and that is that we do have some really awesome non-certified instructors, and I hope that those people are taking advantage of the opportunity to get their certification. We also have some certified teachers that have some stuff to learn, and this, working on getting certified teachers, is the first step in getting us to where we need to be with our staff, and the next step is going to be keeping those people accountable. So I thank you, the school board, for the work that you do. I've done it. I know that it's thankless. No matter what you do, someone's going to be mad at you. And thank you, Synth, for coming back, even though you already knew that that's what you would be signing up for. I appreciate you bringing your expertise back to us because, man, you've got a lot of it. So that's all. Thank you. And you guys, what are we doing this weekend? Anything? You want to do something? So
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of approval of board minutes, approval of regular bills, approval of payroll and related bills connected to payroll, approval of the Head Start Council information, approval to accept donations that were discussed earlier, recommended approval of the recommended policy manual changes. This is the final reading on those. We've been through that in committee and then at our last meeting. Approval of resignations, approval of appointments of licensed personnel, approval of appointment for extra duty assignments, approval of internal appointments, and approval of termination. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any member of the board asked to or pull from the consent agenda?
I have one. Like to remove the resignation of Javarius Burgess
Okay,
from the agenda.
that's termination.
Termination, sorry.
Thank you. All right, there's a motion to remove that item from the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Archie,
Yes.
Baronis,
Yes.
Gathing,
Yes.
Veranda,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes. 7 ayes, 0 noes, motion carries. All right, that leaves the consent agenda. Any other items which any board member wants to have has a question or a discussion issue?
I would like to.
Chris, what's the very last one that you said?
Yes?
What was the very last thing that you read on the consent agenda?
The consent agenda is approval of termination of, there are two now names listed.
I'm sorry, I still couldn't hear that.
There was a motion
Termination
to
of what?
remove.
What's that?
they removed,
We removed one of the names. Mr. Tavares
Burgess.
Burgess was removed from that list of people being terminated.
Oh, okay, got you. All right.
Okay?
When we
All right.
vote, I'd like to abstain from item number 1 and item number 6, since I was not on the board at that time.
Okay. All right, hearing nothing else, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Baronis. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Baronis.
Yes.
Gathing.
Yes.
Veranda.
Yes.
Verret.
I'm sorry, what did she abstain from? Actually,
1 and 6.
1 and 6.
I abstained from 1 and 6 since I was not seated on the board at that time.
Verret.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you called my name, I'm sorry. I'm going to no, number 1, and the rest, yes.
You don't approve of the minutes?
You said,
Oh, she's abstaining because
She's
she's not
abstaining
here.
from 1
Yeah.
and 6.
She's
oh,
abstaining.
we're doing it, we're in H, consent agenda
We're the
still?
consent
Oh,
agenda,
I'm
yes.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, why are we doing it like that? Okay. Yes,
I'm still,
Williams.
same run as always.
okay.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Yes.
Archie.
Yes.
Bolin.
Yes. 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion, abstention on 2 items, motion carries. Moving on to the action items. First item is approval of a resolution pertaining to the termination of tenured teacher. That would be Ms. Fountain. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Baronis. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes, you heard me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I would like to table that to the next board meeting because we really, as a board, I think it's very irresponsible for us to vote on something that we hadn't talked about.
Okay.
And it is clear, and nobody can say
Okay.
we did talk about it. We didn't talk about all the
Motion-
allegations and what, it was just presented to us, and we didn't even have time to do any discussion.
Okay, you've got a motion to
So-
table. Is there a second on the motion to table? Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Wait a minute.
There's a motion and a second on a motion to table. The motion to table is not debatable. Call the roll.
Gathing.
No.
Veranda.
Just for clarification, is this a?
Table.
To table that.
No.
Verret.
Yes.
Williams.
No. I mean, yes. I want to table it, yes.
Yes, you want to table it. Archie.
Yes.
Baronis.
No.
Bolin.
No. 3 ayes, 4 noes, the motion's defeated. Now we're back to the motion to approve the resolution. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Verret.
No.
Williams.
No.
Archie.
No.
Baronis.
Yes.
Gathing.
Yes.
Veranda.
Yes.
Bolin.
Yes. Motion carries. 4 ayes, 3 nays. Next is the approval of the disposal of surplus equipment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Baronis. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Verret.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Archie.
Yes.
Baronis.
Yes.
Gathing.
Yes.
Veranda.
Yes.
Bolin.
Yes. Motion, there are 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Next is the approval of the contract with the American Institute of Research. This is for the assessment that was discussed by Dr. Gilbert. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Baronis. Any discussion regarding this contract? Not, please call the roll.
Williams.
Yes.
Archie.
Yes.
Baronis.
Yes.
Gathing.
Yeah. Yes.
Veranda,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes, 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Next is approval of the request for proposal. Actually, I'm not sure we need that, but let's do it. Approval of the request for proposal for the curriculum instruction practices audit. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gathing, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Veranda and Mr. Williams. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Archie,
Yeah.
Baronis,
Yes.
Gathing,
Yes.
Veranda,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes, 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Next is approval of the bonus for an executive secretary to the superintendent.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gathing, seconded by Ms. Veranda. Is there any discussion?
Chris, what was you vote, what we voting on? I didn't hear.
We're voting on the bonus we gave to Rachel based upon the fact that she handled the transition of 2 superintendents
Okay, got it.
simultaneously.
Move on. Thank
Okay.
you.
Is there any other discussion? Call the roll.
Baronis,
Yes.
Gathing,
Yes.
Veranda,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Archie,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes, with thanks. 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Last is approval of a board member expense reimbursement.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
The board member, what?
reimbursement, Ms. Archie.
Reimbursing. Okay, I'm not sure who is it for.
Gathing it was for Baronis and Ms. Archie.
Okay, all right.
Y'all got to abstain.
So the motion's been made, there is a second. Any other discussion or questions? Call the roll.
Gathing,
Yes.
Veranda,
Yes.
Verret,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Archie.
Yes.
You want to abstain from
To
yours,
abstain.
Archie?
It's for you.
Ms.
can't-
Archie, you want a yes and abstain?
I'm saying yes.
Because you're on there
I'm on there what?
for reimbursement.
This
I'm
is,
not, I can't get it too well.
okay, we're going to say that you abstain,
Abstain.
okay?
You wait a minute, let me say it.
Okay, would you please say that you abstain?
Okay, I abstained to something, okay?
Thank you so much. All right,
You're welcome.
all right. You have one more to call, right?
Baronis
Abstain.
and Bolin.
Aye. 5 ayes, 2 abstentions, 0 nays. The motion carries. Thank you to the audience and the public and the community. This was a very important meeting for lots of reasons, not least of which was the lengthy report we had regarding the transition. I think, Dr. Lance, do you have anything to add?
Oh, I knew this was going to be hard. I knew.
You're okay. You're okay.
Depending on the audience, the reaction to appointing licensed international teachers into our classrooms is mixed. From displeasure to glee, from doubt to trust, from cynicism to optimism. As I wavered on whether to make a statement tonight, I ultimately decided to share my thoughts on the hire of you, of our international teachers, some of whom are sitting in the audience tonight, and what their hire and the future hire of even more licensed teachers mean for our school district, and most importantly, our students. I want to preface any further comments by acknowledging that for approximately 6 years, our school system remained afloat due to the dedication of both licensed and non-licensed staff. And for that, I remain thankful. With more than 850 school districts in our state, many of our staff members could have opted to leave, and yet many stayed. Again, I'm thankful. Over 6 months, I have brought forward more than 30 licensed teachers for the board's approval as a result of the hard work and dedication of our leadership team, including our school principals, our director of special education, and human resources. For whatever reason, there are some people who believe that we are doing a disservice to children by hiring licensed teachers in lieu of having non-licensed instructors in front of students, thereby causing dissension and sowing discord among staff. This is unfortunate, but me and my team will not be deterred at all. At all. At all. When I met with our instructors last month, I did so because I believed they were owed the professional courtesy to hear directly from me that 1, we would hire international teachers. 2, barring no concerns with their performance, we would like for them to stay. And 3, if they desired to remain and work on their professional educator license, we would reimburse them. The timing of that meeting was questioned as if there was ever a right time to tell someone that they would lose their job if they did not seek licensure. I contend that no matter the timing, the conversation is hard to hear, and it is even difficult to share. Some challenge the decision using established relationships between current adults and students as the motive for maintaining status quo. I contend that relationships alone will not change our educational forecast. Positive relationships, for example, are just one of many ways to encourage students to want to learn and come to school. But relationships independent of sound educational doctrine will not propel our students forward. Simple. As my children sit in this audience tonight, I don't want them to get a hug or a high five and can't read. As an example of the students in grades 3 through 8 who took the state assessment last year, only 16% met or exceeded state performance on the English IAR, the Illinois Assessment for Readiness, compared to 41% for the state. This accounts for more than a 24% difference. In math, the results are more stark. Less than 9% of students in grades 3 through 8 met or exceeded on the math state assessment compared to 28% for the state. Again, a difference of almost 20 percentage points. At the high school, and you saw the data, in math, only 2.3% of our high schoolers who took that SAT met or exceeded performance expectations. This data is widely available to the public. These results didn't happen overnight, and to do nothing means that we will never reach parity. In other words, to do nothing means that nothing changes. I cannot sleep well, knowing that change, albeit difficult, is possible. So that I am clear tonight, I am fully committed to having a licensed teacher in every single classroom by August 2027. Our children are no less deserving than any other child in any other system. I'm going to say that again, because we seem to be confused as to why we are here. Our children are no less deserving than any other child in any other system. Our commitment to ensuring a quality education for more than 4,600 students is paramount. I want to thank the board president and the entire Board of Education for allowing me to address our stakeholders this evening. But again, we will not be deterred. You hired me for a reason, and I'm going to do that job. Thank you.
The rest of the agenda is fascinating reading, and I would encourage you to do so, but I'm not going to do it. So, thank you. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Second by Mr. Williams and Miss Archie. All in favor, say aye.